The opening of the film features it that some unidentified parasitic aliens are traveling from the water to the city. Then a man who is asleep in his room enters the area. He lets one of the parasites creep into his ear. Even though the man is agitated, he returns to sleep to unwind. Shinichi, a boy, now makes an appearance. He puts headphones in his ears at night and listens to music. He resists the parasite's attempts to enter his ear. He picks it up and throws it aside. He makes a move to stomp it. After cutting the skin of his hand, the parasite then appears there. At the same moment, his mother comes. He shouts, "Look! My hand has gotten sick." When his mother examines it, his hand is in perfect condition. Shinichi is revealed to experience some discomfort in his hand the next morning while sitting at the dinner table. Then a man with an infected ear is seen. In front of his wife, he is standing. His grotesque opening of the jaws was too horrifying. He then closes his gigantic mouth over his wife's face. And that parasite was the cause of it. Shinichi then enters the scene, where he runs into his pal as they travel to school. She watches his enigmatic behavior. He arrives at school and then something strange started occurring to him. His right hand was becoming stronger. He attempts to bruise his hand upon arriving at his home. He is stopped by his hand, which defends itself inexplicably. The parasite-like appearance of his hand is then shown. Additionally, it was speaking to Shinichi. Additionally, it is demonstrated that Shinichi used to utilize his laptop in addition to reading his books, because it had a fascination with how people live. When it attempted to enter his body, Shinichi told it to move forward. Therefore, it was managing this hand and had solely infected the right hand. It announces itself as Migi. It also demands, "Never cut me off. Because you are my entertainer, I won't hurt you." It now seemed as though Shinichi and Migi were developing a friendship. However, parasite-infected individuals were wreaking mayhem across the metropolis. After killing people, they were sating their appetite. On the other hand, Migi pulls Shinichi to a motel where a lot of parasites were devouring human flesh. They are mistaken because they provide the flesh since Shinichi is also sick. He is still a human and not completely tainted, yet they nonetheless proceed to decapitate him. Mini, however, engages them while defending Shinichi, because Shinichi's passing might potentially lead it to perish. He had, therefore, acted alone. Native Americans are being slain, according to the news. Additionally, no one can identify the murderer, because parasites were discreetly carrying it out. Why don't you put restrictions on your partner's parasites so they can't devour humans? Shinichi asks Mini. Then Migi responds, "You also eat other animals and veggies. The same is true of our food, which is people. Why is it flawed then?" Mini formerly could detect the sort of parasite present. Attending school, it alerts Shinichi to the presence of a second parasite nearby. It was only his teacher, nothing else. That instructor saw Shinichi and knows he has the disease. She claims, though, that you shouldn't be terrified of me. I don't want to hurt others for that reason. Instead, I am learning about human behavior so that I will always retain their traits. It directs him to two other parasites, including a student and a policeman. The statement reads, "This police officer is my spouse, and we are having a child. And that child will grow up to be a person. We also want to live our lives as people would. We won't execute somebody in front of the public because, however, we like to eat in silence. Are you going to join our team?" Mini disagrees, though. The same police officer visits them the next day. When Shinichi is revealed, Mini says, "He has come to murder us," considering that he had noticed that we had just finished a parasite at a hotel that day. He is assaulted by a policeman in the meanwhile. He fights alongside Mini and Shinichi. He finally murders him. Shinichi was feeling bad upon entering the home since he had killed someone. On the other hand, it is demonstrated that the parasite leaves the body of the police officer and enters the body of another human. Nobody else saves Shinichi's mom was there. She then headed over to assassinate Shinichi. Mini tells Shinichi, "I'm going to murder you." It hears Shinichi warn, "Be careful. If you mention my mom in any way," owing to his warm relationship with his mom, he had no desire to lose his mother. His mother's face first assumes the parasite's shape, much like other parasites do. She then strikes Shinichi. Due to his blood loss, he is on the verge of death. It is evident the following morning that he has recovered. "You were seriously hurt. but I used my cells to treat your wound, Migi says. However, the fact that Migi cells had invaded Shinichi was dangerous. He had a full-blown infection. Shinichi now starts looking for his mother, but he is unable to locate her. He then turns to the teacher and inquires about the policeman, but the instructor remains silent as well. Migi informs him, I will need to get 4 hours of sleep every day. You will have to battle on your own at that point since I won't be there to shield you. With Migi's cells present, Migi's characteristics had already begun to emerge. The student's transformation into a parasite is now apparent. The pupil whom the teacher demonstrated, he enrolls in Shinichi's institution. He poses as Shinichi's close buddy. As time goes on, everyone is forced to face reality as a parasite. Then the student murders everyone. After that, he murders Shinichi's friend. However, Shinichi flies off the structure while grabbing his companion. The instructor who planned to kill the pupil approaches the scene. Because that pupil could let her secret out, she detonates the explosives there while staying secure. Police arrive, but they are stopped there by that student as well. The student is on the building's roof. Mini informs Shinichi. When he climbs onto the roof of another building, he is shot and killed. Then he goes back to the teacher and asks for the address of the parasitic policeman. He is told where to go by the teacher. His mother still had the police officer's parasite, but Mini is taking a break. Shinichi was forced to fight by himself in this situation. He somehow ends that parasite by slitting its throat. Later, the police officer and his mother. The next scene has Shinichi visiting his friend at the hospital. He is saying that I will eliminate each parasite individually. Then it is shown that someone is snapping images of them. He was also a spy. This concludes part 1 of the movie. This movie's part 2 will now be discussed. In part 2, the period following that occurrence is shown, when military officials learned that humans are being attacked by parasites in the city. They also desired to save them. Consequently, a serial killer is let out of jail, who was able to distinguish parasites from humans. One by one, they are brought before him. Then he refers to everyone as a person. But when Shinichi approaches him, he starts to reflect. He says that he is likewise human after much thought. When Mini gets back to the house, she alerts Shinichi of the presence of a parasite nearby. They go to a building nearby where a parasite is consuming human flesh there. That parasite travels to Shinichi after spotting him. Mini, however, puts it to death. Shinichi notices someone is suddenly behind him. He was the only one who had snapped the pictures of Mini and Shinichi after part I. The city mayor then enters the scene and speaks up in favor of parasites. He was a demon himself. Additionally, that teacher had cohesion with him. Now it has been established that the instructor had given birth to a child who was a human. The mayor was aware of Shinichi's ability to eradicate parasites, and he wanted to get rid of him. But the teacher forbids it. Mini and Shinichi are members of the same body, she says. I'm interested in how they connect when Shinichi dies. Mini, our parasite, will also perish. To keep an eye on Shinichi, she dispatched the spy after him. One day when he is walking, Shinichi feels someone following him once more. That spy advises that you identify yourself to the police when spying. Shinichi disagrees, claiming that the police department is similarly rife with parasites. Here, Shinichi learns that his teacher has hired a spy to hunt him down. What are all of you doing? He asks the visiting instructor. Why don't you stop doing it? The teacher then asks him, why are you eliminating the parasites on our companions? They are still figuring out how to consume people. They will eventually quit murdering them. He doesn't say anything till he decides to go undercover. What a dangerous parasite that instructor is. Beware. She could hurt you as well. But the spy does not believe him. The next day, the spy sees the mayor. He wished to verify the veracity of Shinichi's claims. The audio tape is then placed in the mayor's room. The mayor issues the assassination order after learning of it. He is not home, so they kill his daughter. Shinichi is about to be attacked by 5 parasites. Migi warns him. A guy walks up to them. He combined the traits of the 5 parasites. While battling, Mini and Shinichi blow out his skull. They believe he is diseased. However, just 1 parasite had been eliminated. There were still 4 other parasites. The other parasites become aware of him and begin to handle him. The instructor then addresses the mayor, saying, if I forbid you, you won't send parasites to terminate Shinichi and spy. So why did you do that? Here, The mayor observes that the instructor was growing in her understanding of human emotion after becoming a mother. 3 parasites are sent to kill the instructor when he discusses it. She understands that someone is going to end her since she is a parasite. She puts a stop to their argument by calling them to the. When she returns to the house, she discovers that her kid is gone. A message with the words, "Come to the for a meeting and your baby is in my care," is what he discovers there. The spy who left the message intended to kill the teacher's unborn child to get revenge on his deceased daughter. That teacher follows Shinichi there while perplexed. After killing this infant, you will receive nothing, Shinichi warns the spy. Since this infant is a member of the human species, there are also military officers present. They were aware that the mayor had hidden several parasites within his structure. The building personnel was now being dispatched one by one. After discovering, they began blasting the parasites among them. There was also a serial murderer there. The mayor's speech is then shown being delivered. He claims that people are the real villains since they kill parasites willfully. Then he is targeted and killed by the current military officers. He was a human creature, but he was only aiding parasites, the serial murderer yells. When they turn around, they discover the man who contained 5 parasites. Everyone fires at him, but he escapes unharmed. The spy is then seen about to deliver the baby. As she watches, the instructor must change into a parasite to save the infant. She places one hand on the spy's body. Everyone learns that she is a parasite as a result. Police began shooting at her non-stop, and she was aware that she would soon pass away. She arrives to give Shinichi her infant. As she assigns Shinichi with this duty, several bullets force her to pass away right away. Shinichi reminds his mother of this situation, and he begins to experience human emotions. Police are currently questioning Shinichi. Nevertheless, it has been claimed that a man who had 5 parasites killed the military officers. Shinichi then makes a drive there. However, such parasites contributed to his accident and prevented him. He walks over to the woods. He warns Minnie that unless you are with him, he will find me wherever I go. He asks Minnie to keep away from him. That parasite arrives in the interim. He starts to assault him. Now that Shinichi and Minnie were friends, Minnie makes a sacrifice by separating from Shinichi's body. It commands Shinichi to leave the area. That parasite decimates Minnie. Shinichi relocates to his friend's home since he is depressed about it. She knows just how to care for him. He quickly notes while lying. It occurred as a result of Minnie's essence entering Shinichi's body after healing him. So if he wanted it, it could be me. Shinichi is aware that the parasite will once more locate me using the signals it has produced. That additional piece of Minnie is being created by his arm. As a result, he bids his pal farewell before leaving for good. When he steps outdoors, the parasite captures him. He inserts a chemical earthing rod into his body after approaching a mill, but he is still secure. What are you thinking about me? He asks. I will murder someone else once I have killed you. Along with me, other parasites will rule the world. He is about to murder Shinichi. Minnie's hand regenerates out of nowhere. It begins to fight that parasite. Meanwhile, he grows agitated due to a physical issue. Minnie informs him that the rod contained the various drugs you used to massage him. Minnie informs him that the rod contained the various drugs you used to massage him. One by one, each parasite departs from his body. Only the skeleton remained at this point. Shinichi tosses it into the flames, causing him to burn to death. Everything is eventually demonstrated in a regular manner. Shinichi is hearing Minnie tell him that no parasite has survived in this world. Therefore, we shouldn't share a home. I will be cut off from you. Shinichi, however, disagrees. Minnie, however, managed to eradicate it. Shinichi's actual hand then materializes. And in his sadness, he starts to think of Minnie. It is now evident how much time has gone. Shinichi and his companion were enjoying their life. They also used to visit the infant of that instructor. Suddenly, it becomes apparent that the serial murderer has returned. He kidnaps Shinichi's pal. He speaks softly in her ear. The human being is the true monster. However, Shinichi's pal informs him that you are the true monster. You murder the victims. That serial murderer tosses her over the building onto it. However, Shinichi appears out of nowhere and saves her by reaching out his hand. He now understands that Minnie has been of use to him. This is where part 2 of the movie concludes.